Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I hope you are well, Ustada Aisha, Mufti, Ustada Asma, et al. So based on the Mufti's wishes, what we shall do is talk about this on our surf book. So first of all, let's get this up. So what I was trying to say was, if you look, there are 8 different concepts or points of view about the spiritual aspect of Salah. So this is the basic summary: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, followed by an in-depth of each one. So if you look here, a continuous and direct link with Allah is linked with, this is point number 1. If you go to the next page, just go to the next page. Let's come out there for a second. Okay, so you go to this bit, protection from evil and misdeeds. This is linked to Salah protects believers from evil and bad deeds. So what I was suggesting on WhatsApp group was, what you could do, you see this bit here, right? This section here as point number 1. You don't need to tell them it's point number 1, 2, 3. All we've got to do is enlarge this onto A4 piece of paper and then put it on to one table. And then the second point is protection from evil and misdeeds. You put that on another table. Now, just to explain, for example, what you could do is, let's go on the sketchpad. Okay, so you have, just say how many. So on that day, what I've noticed, your class is basically like the exam room layout. Okay, one table behind another. What you could do for that day is have grouped tables. So for example, okay, so here are tables placed in this way. So if there's 4 in each group, so if you base the class, so when you're planning your lesson, you can pre-plan the groups depending on special needs, etc., differentiation. And what I'm suggesting is, for example, there's 6 tables, 6 groups. There's 8 points about the spirituality in Salah. What you could do is have 2 of the smaller, shorter points. Just say, have 1 point here, 2 there, and the rest you can do 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then possibly on another table you can also have 2. You can play around with that. Okay, so you have point number 3 here, point number 4 here, 5 here, 6 here, and then 7 and 8 over here. Now, so what I'm saying is, each table will have information on that aspect of Salah from the textbook. Now, they obviously give a short summary which you can put down. So if you just say point number 3, what would be a good idea is to have 2 copies. So 1 copy here, 1 copy here, so that 2 students can view this copy, 2 students can view this copy, and they can. So what the aim is, once you've laid this out, you can give them, say, about 5 minutes. Okay, I mean, you can change this around based on your own students and how well you know them, and you can time them rigorously where they go from. Let's change the color here. They go from one table to the next. So first they just say this student here, okay, and his partner, they're at this table. After 5 minutes, they would go gather information from point number 3. Then after 5 minutes, when the time, when you time them, they would then go to 4, and then over to 5, 6. So that would be 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 minutes altogether. That could actually be your main activity. Now, it's up to you. How are you going to find out what they've done? It could be in the form of a presentation. It can be in the form of, it's entirely up to you. Because it's to do with the spirituality of Salah, you might want to think about how could, you really get them to think about why they pray. So there's 8 points over here. Every student will, definitely, feel closer to maybe 2 points, 2 of these notions more than the other 6. Okay, so you could say to them, look, choose 2 of the points and talk about how they are closely linked to you and how you could practice them. So the table thing that I was talking about, I'm going to pause it for a second whilst I do that. Okay, so here's the table. So you would create this on, Excel or Word or whatever you like. This would be pre-printed for the students. They would have point number one, information already written out, or you can ask them instead of putting the numbers on. Okay, you can just ask them to write down the information of what they are analyzing, which point. Okay, so what it is. Number two, why they think it's important. So they've got to discuss this with their pair or their group, and then how they can bring it into their lives, how it has an impact on them. And then they go to the next table, they write the same here. So the idea here is they're not writing too much. You're trying to force them to write less, but to discuss more. Okay, and it's important, incredibly important, to get our students to think deeply about the spiritual side of life, about the meaning of life, about our consciousness, because it's highly philosophical questions which we need them to think about. Otherwise, there's so much materialism going around in the world and so much materialistic thought prevalent in our capitalist societies that students, very, they get very less chance or time to actually talk about the spiritual things, what it means about being human, what it means, to live in a certain way. What they believe in the life after death is, if it's all about materialism, and if it's all about this worldly life, then surely the life hereafter, for them that would be a total nothing. Okay, and that's where something like Salah plays a huge and important role, because it's a reminder 5 times a day. It reminds us that no, this is not the only life that we have. Because if it was, truly our time here, I mean, what's the point of it? Why are we living this life? So it's these higher questions that we've got to ask them, and Salah plays a major significant role. And also further details on that, you can look at the anthropological work of Fadwa al-Gawindi on Salah, where she talks about by-noon prayer. Okay, I hope that makes sense. If you have any questions, please write the questions down or type them up onto YouTube or on our WhatsApp group that we're talking about. Please do get back to me as soon as possible. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.